Hey everybody, I'm Jesse Jace, and my New Year's resolution is to get a little more use out of my green screen! When you think about websites that have been around since Web 1.0, what comes to mind? Maybe MySpace? That started back in 2003. Go back a little further, and Netflix appeared back in 1997, although back then it trafficked in physical media rental by mail, not increasingly overpriced seasons of Stranger Things. Back further still, web crawler and Amazon have existed in some form since 1994. In the intervening decades, you'd expect a venerated website like any of these to either become better than it used to be, or be left untouched because it wasn't really broken in the first place. But there's an exception to that rule, and it's the subject of this installment of Piss Me Off. The Internet Movie Database, or IMDb, began all the way back in 1990 as a creepy Usenet post about actresses with pretty eyes.
I love her eyes.
After its arrival on the World Wide Web in 1993, it grew into a comprehensive record of film and TV titles, incorporating integration that allowed users to search by title, cast or crew member, year of release, and other queries. Sounds like something that would be loved by movie fans the world over, but no, it's more like a burning mountain of trash with poison in it. Poison trash. Simultaneously, the IMDb's long-standing charm point and its tragic Achilles heel is the ability for users to make form submissions to add information, and the website's willingness to add that user-submitted information without any fact-checking is a real problem. Think of it like Wikipedia's not-so-well-moderated older brother. For example, a user can submit factoids about a movie, which are then cataloged under that movie's Trivia tab, which sounds like a great way to share little-known stories about the making of a film, regardless of whether they're actually interesting or even true. They range in quality. I'm going to use some examples from the original Star Wars to show you what I mean. This one says, Darth Vader's breathing was originally meant to be much more labored and raspy. The sound of this more labored, raspy breathing would be used later in Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, during that movie's climax. Okay, I don't know if that's true or not, but I suppose I believe it, and it's kinda cool. Maybe they thought Darth Vader wouldn't be as imposing if he sounded asthmatic. I'm gonna call that an acceptable piece of trivia. But a lot of what you find is more like this. Anthony Daniels' C-3PO suit was so noisy and clanking on the set that not only was Daniels' live recorded dialogue unusable, but the live tracks of other actors and actresses in the scene were spoiled as well. Well, first of all, I don't think it was clanking because that costume was made of plastic, but that aside, I feel like the person who submitted this doesn't understand just how many possible factors can contribute to the need for dialogue to be re-recorded in ADR after principal photography. In some movies, all the dialogue is replaced. It depends to an extent on the director, and a whole lot on the environments where the photography was done. I won't hazard a guess as to how much dialogue in movies is ADR on average, but I'm willing to bet it's more than half overall. So this is less a piece of trivia about Star Wars and more about movie making in general. You might as well submit, Mark Hamill can't really fly an X-Wing, cause X-Wings aren't real. Yeah, thanks. I don't need that. Speaking of which, Mark Hamill is a master impressionist. He was even before he was established as an actor. His impression of Harrison Ford is legendary. His impression of Mozart and his maniacal laugh is what won him the part in Broadway's Amadeus. Tom Hulce's performance in the movie is famously a ripoff of Hamill's impression on Broadway. That's not really trivia about Star Wars though, right? And the word famously is sort of working across purposes there. If it's famous, then that sort of diminishes its value as trivia, if you ask me. First words from Han Solo are, I'm Han Solo. Wow, earth-shattering. Not to mention wrong, I checked.
Han Solo.
A lot of people like to submit these dumb 6 degrees of Jason Bateman style coincidences as trivia too, like this one from Jurassic Park. Sir Sam Neill, whose real name is Nigel, plays Alan Grant. Steven Spielberg's middle name is Alan, while his son Max Spielberg's middle name is Samuel. Richard Attenborough's name, I think they mean his middle name, was also Samuel. And he and Spielberg have both directed Nigel Hawthorne in a film, Gandhi and Amistad. I don't give a shit. Or how about this one from Jackie Brown. Max Cherry states that he is 56 years old. Robert Forster, who played Max, was 56 when the movie was released.
Wow!
Some of the nonsense that people try to pass off as director trademarks is pretty weak too. For example, the trivia for 2001 A Space Odyssey claims that Hal refusing to open the pod bay doors for Dave is an example of Stanley Kubrick's director's trademark of denial. So every non-Kubrick film where there's a denial happening is actually an homage to Kubrick. Little tip of the cap to old Stanley. Anyway, why are we even asking the movie's audience for trivia about the movie? They weren't there when the movie was made. How are they supposed to know? You're gonna end up with a lot of stuff that isn't true because none of this trivia gets fact-checked. How do I know this? Because I've submitted dubious facts to the IMDb myself and they all went up immediately. For example, to go back to Star Wars, I submitted this one. Portions of the sound effects for the Millennium Falcon's engines were recorded at an air show at the Experimental Aircraft Association's annual convention in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Coincidentally, Harrison Ford served as the chairman of the Young Eagles program at the museum. Okay, that last sentence wasn't mine. Somebody added that, or maybe my trivia got combined with someone else's. Now, I'm pretty sure that what I wrote about the air show is accurate, but it's based on something I only vaguely remember from a childhood visit to the EAA AirVenture Museum. But that doesn't matter. As soon as I had submitted the trivia, it was public on the site. The process of checking the veracity of my claim was either instantaneous or non-existent. There's also the matter of people having wildly different ideas about what constitutes trivia. You come across an awful lot of entries like this one from the trivia section of Evil Dead 2. At 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 5 seconds, Ash's first utterance of his signature comment, "Groovy." Okay, this, despite ending with a period outside the quotation marks, is not a sentence, and also not trivia. It's just a piece of information you could glean from watching the Evil Dead series. Besides, I think you meant to say catchphrase, not signature comment. What's a signature comment? How about this one from the same movie? The image shown and accompanying comments at 54 minutes 30 seconds may be teasers for the next sequel. Maybe? Shut up! Here's a bad one from Pulp Fiction. It's speculated that the character Winston Wolfe in Pulp Fiction is the same Winston, the Continental Hotel's owner in John Wick universe. It's speculated? By who? You? Keep that to yourself. Thumbs down. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, the only kind of quality control going on here is thumbs up or down from other users. And the number of thumbs up is presented as the number of people who found this trivia helpful. Which I guess means that clicking thumbs down means I found this trivia to be a burden. Like, this trivia is a thorn in my side. You'll find a similar mix of pedantry and factual dubiousness in the goofs section. This is where users point out, in the most condescending way possible, spots where inevitably the filmmakers have missed some tiny detail and left a mistake in the movie. Oh no! For example, the goofs section of the Gladiator entry is just one example after another of, in this shot there's blood, but in the next shot it's gone. Or, in this shot he's holding his sword in his left hand, and in the next shot it's in his right hand. I can't identify with the kind of person who watches movies looking for this stuff. If you think about it, it's amazing how this website, which seems ostensibly to be dedicated to people who find joy in movies, is built from contributions from people who take such a joyless approach to watching them. Besides, if you're enough of a movie fan to spend a significant amount of time on the IMDb, just how entertained are you gonna be by this nonsense? Like, if you watch enough movies, you're gonna notice continuity errors and editing flubs all the time. They're a dime a dozen. And the voice adopted by these contributors, oh my god. They love to say things like clearly and obviously. From Traffic. When Judge Wakefield and his wife talk to their daughter after she's released from jail, the living room walls are painted mocha brown. 2 to 3. 3. I know it's hard to spell 3. 3 minutes into the scene, the walls are clearly green in color. From Ghostbusters. A heavy object used to destroy Dana's apartment wall clearly flies as the wall explodes. Yeah, of course, they're not gonna use explosives right in front of Sigourney Weaver. Come on. Or how about this? obvious stunt doubles fall into the earthquake crater. No, you know what's an obvious stunt double? Anyone you see doing anything dangerous in a movie, ever. Except maybe Tom Cruise. As if the existence of the IMDb itself weren't enough to make you want to never use the internet again. There's a whole category of YouTube channels that exist mainly to repackage a movie's plot synopsis, trivia, and goofs into a single video, often called a breakdown. Yeah, it's a breakdown, alright. Breakdown of civilization. Yeah, you wanna help with the hey, ha! And you better hope that no one disagrees with a goof you posted, or they'll resubmit it under incorrectly regarded as goofs. And then there's the reviews. The IMDb's user reviews section is where you'll find some of the funniest shit you've ever seen on the internet. First of all, there's a real scarcity of people who have ambivalent feelings about movies or anything really. You're gonna find a lot of 10-star reviews and a lot of 1-star reviews, but not that much in between. Everything's either the greatest ever or the worst ever. Nuance is something only the most super genius brainiacs of our world can handle, as is thoughtful analysis, apparently, because you're also going to come across terrible opinions, like Disney ruined the Little Mermaid remake with their woke mindset. The world's becoming less deferential to my cis male whiteness. My advice is, don't seek out Internet Movie Database user reviews unless you're doing so for amusement, because most of these reviews are written by people whose opinions about movies I don't value. And also by people who can't write, which is why we're not going to look at any user reviews in this video. You like being teased? Well, here's the part where I tease ya. Instead, buckle up, movie fans, because IMDb user reviews are going to be the focus of my next episode of Let Me Fix It. Stay tuned! You're gonna hate it.